Frank Underwood for president means plenty of lies, manipulation, blackmail, murder, and unbelievably shocking twists. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 shocking moments on House of Cards. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we'll be looking at events throughout this show that left audiences in utter astonishment. Any scene in the first 4 seasons is up for grabs, as long as it's surprising or significant in progressing the show's narrative. Also, this should go without saying, but a major spoiler alert is in effect.
Wait, just let me go.
Number 10. Frank starts a war with Aiko.
Regardless of whether James Miller is released or not, rescued or not, killed or not, Aiko will be destroyed.
One thing that makes this series so compelling is its willingness to reflect the modern geopolitical landscape. Season 4 introduces the fictional terrorist group Aiko, which shares more similarities with their real-world counterparts, ISIS, than just a similar name.
It will be a war more total than anything we have waged thus far in the fight against extremism. Soldiers will die. Civilians may die.
Tension between the extremists and the US government heightens throughout the season, culminating with the internet-streamed execution of an American hostage. Frank delivers a powerful and fear-mongering speech to the US people, admitting that many soldiers and civilians will die in the war against Aiko. The final moments of Season 4 make it clear that Frank sees the deaths of innocent people as nothing more than a setback in his never-ending quest for power.
That's right. We don't submit to terror. We make the terror.
Number 9. Michael Corrigan hangs himself.
Michael.
Mrs. Underwood.
Claire.
After taking on the role of UN ambassador, Claire travels to Moscow to meet with Michael Corrigan, an American citizen who was arrested for protesting Russia's treatment of the LGBT community. Russia's president agrees to let him go, with the condition that he publicly apologize upon his release. Corrigan refuses, and Claire spends the night in his cell, attempting to persuade him to set aside his cause for his freedom. She wakes up the next morning to find that Corrigan hanged himself during the night, using her scarf as a noose. This scene gives us a brief glimpse into the complexity of Claire's character, while Corrigan's emotionally driven act of protest serves as a foil to the Underwood's cold, calculated pragmatism. Number 8. Claire admits to abortion and rape on live TV.
But I won't feel ashamed. Yes, I was pregnant, and yes, I had an abortion.
At the beginning of Season 2, Claire reveals that she was raped years ago by a man who is now a US general. We also learn that she has had several abortions during her relationship with Frank, and that information could be used against her by people sniffing around for controversy.
Are you saying that you were raped? You've never spoken publicly about this before. No one ever asked.
Claire is put on the defensive during a televised interview, so she decides to kill 2 birds with 1 stone by admitting to an abortion and claiming it was to terminate the pregnancy after General McGinnis raped her. It's satisfying to see her abuser brought down, but this moment also demonstrates that Claire's ability to mislead and spin the truth is as formidable as her husband's. Number 7. Frank threatens to kill the Secretary of State.
It's all true.
What is?
Everything Lucas Goodwin claimed. I killed them both just like he said I did.
Frank's southern charm has done wonders for him, but when all else fails, he relies on fear to get what he wants. When Secretary of State Catherine Durant stands up to him, Frank lets her know just how far he's gone and how far he's willing to go in order to get his way, all while holding a letter opener to her stomach.
No, we didn't kill anybody.
He eventually laughs it off as a joke, but not before making it clear to Catherine that she's putting her life in danger by defying him.
Because that's how good we are at making things disappear.
This terrifying display of dominance does the trick, while once again highlighting Underwood's absolute ruthlessness towards those who oppose him.
The time for negotiations is over. You will hand over your delegates, and you will serve on in my cabinet. And we will forget that any of this ever happened.
Number 6. Rachel attacks Doug. Doug survives.
Did anyone contact you?
Where are you taking me?
Answer my question.
Speaking of dominance, Doug is tasked with keeping Rachel and her role in Peter Russo's downfall a secret. His twisted obsession with her makes it impossible for Rachel to lead a normal life, and she finally makes her escape in a spectacularly violent fashion.
I did it because
Viewers are left wondering whether or not Doug would survive the attack, before eventually witnessing his long and troubled road to recovery the following season.
Great job. Keep going.
Despite Doug's intriguing and devious exploits, you can't help but root for Rachel for finally standing her ground. Fortunately, Doug returns to his duties more eager than ever to let the president know that whatever Frank needs, he will take care of it. Number 5. Meacham has a threesome with Frank and Claire.
Drunk? A little. How many of these you had?
a few.
Meacham's absolute loyalty towards Frank and Claire has provided him with a front row seat to their ongoing quest for power. But we learn in Season 2 that the dutiful bodyguard is willing to take more than just a bullet for them. While some of the series' bigger moments hit the viewer upside the head with shocking twists and major character deaths, this scene quietly creeps under your skin with its haunting score and dramatically slow build-up. Oscar Wilde once said that everything in the world is about sex except sex. This unforgettable scene makes it clear that Frank couldn't agree more.
You let me know if this hurts.
Not one bit, sir.
Number 4. Doug kills Rachel.
Why? Hey!
Remember how Rachel nearly killed Doug? Remember how he wound up spending months recovering from his physical and psychological injuries? Well, Doug remembers, and Season 3 ends with Rachel's murder at the hands of Frank's perpetually loyal chief of staff.
Doug, please just let me go. Please. Please just let me go.
The writing, cinematography, and editing in this haunting scene make it remarkable and memorable. But Doug's motives are what really manage to stick with the viewer long after he's done the deed. Instead of seeking revenge, Doug aims to remove all distraction in his life. And Rachel was the last remaining chink in his armor. To him, love means weakness, and there's no room for weakness in the Oval Office, particularly in Francis J. Underwood's administration. Number 3. Frank gets shot.
Any news?
Everything's secure, sir.
It was only a matter of time before someone took a shot at Frank, and few of his living enemies had been scorned to the extent of journalist Lucas Goodwin.
Please listen to me. I'm begging you. Just help.
After a routine political rally, Underwood agrees to open a dialogue with his defectors, and tension grows by the second in the moments leading up to the shooting.
You're ruining our country.
I came out here to try to listen to what you want to say, but if all you're going to do is scream...
Viewers were saddened by Meacham's death, while left on the edge of their seats as Frank battled for his life in the following episodes. For the first time in 4 seasons, President Underwood is literally and figuratively put on his back, suggesting that the faintest gust of wind is all it may take to tear down Frank and Claire's delicate house of cards.
Francis, can you hear me?
Number 2. Peter Russo commits suicide.
What you just did was extremely reckless.
I don't care. I'm making a statement tomorrow, Frank.
Peter Russo was an alcoholic and a womanizing train wreck. But the audience remained sympathetic to his struggle as Frank helped to pull the congressman's life together while he campaigned for governor. However, all it took for Russo to spiral out of control were a couple of wine coolers and a call girl, which Doug willingly arranged. Unfortunately for Underwood, Peter's pity party was more public than he would have liked, and Frank decided that a long nap in his garage would be the best course of action for Russo. Frank's graduation from manipulator to murderer is shocking to say the least, and we eagerly follow him down the rabbit hole of corruption and lies, all the way to the Oval Office.
Whatever happens in the next few hours, whatever you hear, we will never speak of it.
Before we unveil our number one pick, here are some honorable mentions.
If the goal is a safer, more prosperous America, I don't need to run for us to achieve that. All I need to do, and what I encourage all of my supporters to do, is to help elect Heather Dunbar to the White House.
I'm not going to New Hampshire.
Yes, you are. I'll see you in the car.
I'm leaving you.
I, Francis J. Underwood.
I, Francis J. Underwood.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Mr. President.
Madam Secretary.
Number 1. Zoe is thrown in front of a train.
Have you thought about what we discussed?
I think you're right. You should start with a clean slate.
A character's death only truly carries weight if a show invests in said character and allows the audience to grow attached to them over time. 14 episodes were spent learning about Zoe Barnes and her twisted relationship with Frank, lulling fans into a false sense of security coming into the second season. However, after she asks one too many questions about his suspicious rise to power, Frank disposes of Zoe in a grisly fashion that makes us question why we love cheering for Underwood in the first place. We'd be remiss if we also didn't highlight the superb editing that heightens the brutality of the scene, which all culminates in a perfect storm of shock and horror that's left fans buzzing ever since.
Don't waste a breath mourning Miss Barnes. Every kitten grows up to be a cat.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.